Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Mitchell Group Media. Today, we will be discussing selling your home using an agent. Every situation is different, but one thing is always consistent when selling your home. It's not only complex, but it's never going to be easy to let go of something that you've worked for. It's always a very personal decision, and there's always going to be stress associated with it, even if you get what you want as soon as you want it. No matter who you work with, it should be important that you work with someone who understands that. While I can almost guarantee you every brokerage across the nation is filled with experts and professionals that understand that and have likely gone through it themselves, I can also guarantee you that you will never get that understanding with a click this button to sell your home corporate entity. As a matter of fact, it's likely that a company would purchase your home and turn it into an institutional cash cow, making it even more difficult for a family to own a home. But that's another video. Before we dive in, please like and subscribe so you can always circle back to this video if you need to. One thing is for certain when selling your home, it will be stressful one way or another. Excitement, nervousness, both. Having someone to guide and walk you through it can make all the difference in the world. Oftentimes, whether you have already sold a home or not, with the ever-changing technology and innovative markets, every time you sell a home is like selling for the first time. While the procedures for selling a home may be the same or very similar from state to state, I hold a brokerage license in the state of Florida, so this will be the location I will be referencing from. Always consult with a local professional in your market to better assist you with your own specific needs. I'll give you a list of important considerations and then we'll go back and break them all down one by one. Everyone has a reason for selling. Why is your reason? Why should you sell? You need to decide on who's going to sell your home. Is your home marked for market? Understand how much you need, how much you want, and how much it's worth. Curb appeal and appearance strategies. Marketing expectations. Patience is a virtue. Cross your T's and dot your I's. You may not move up, you may not move on, but you have to move out. Let's start with number one. So what's your reason for selling? As an associate broker and industry professional, it's not just my job to list a property because someone wants to sell. It's my job to understand why and advise them if I think it may or may not be the best situation for them by providing professional guidance and information so they can make the best decision based on options. This is using skill, care, and diligence, which is sometimes overlooked as any industry is filled with yes people. Many associates will list without even giving it a second thought. What are some good reasons for selling? Maybe you're downsizing. Maybe your family's expanding. School districts. Maybe you're looking to have a family. Maybe you want to move closer to work, further away. Maybe you want to move closer to family, maybe further away. Maybe it's for a lifestyle change, moving into a gated community or moving out of one. There are plenty of good reasons to sell. One thing I hear that's not a good reason is unlocking equity. The reason why this is almost never a good reason is because it's a temporary solution to a compounding problem. You heard the term, you can't buy happiness. Unless you're moving so far away, you're in a different market, you're really not going to reap much longevity on the benefit anyway. Now, if you love the location first and the sale happens to increase your liquidity, then hey, that's great and it's a different story. But ultimately, it's up to you. It's just still our job to disclose fiscal irresponsibility and inform you of your options, so when you make the decisions either way, we use skill, care, and diligence. The worst thing anyone can do is sell high in rent in anticipation the market will fall to purchase again at a discount. This almost always results in fiscal disaster. Never try in time or predict the market. So when should you sell? Because selling is usually not something that comes up quickly, it gives you time to develop a sales strategy based on the time of year and or current market conditions. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Traditionally in Florida, the best time of year for selling is between April and July. Why is this? Buyers typically want to move to a new home before the school year begins. It's generally good weather for house hunting, and people are in the market for vacation homes as the summer is common for vacationing because school is out. December and January are historically the most difficult months to sell a home in Florida. Have you decided who's going to sell your home? If you're going to try and sell it yourself, I recommend you check out my video on For Sale by Owner. It outlines everything you'll need to know to sell your home on your own. If you're going to enlist the services of a real estate professional, we all know plenty, you need to ask yourself, are you going to use a friend of yours or someone you're not connected with? This is a very delicate but important concept of mixing business with pleasure. And are you prepared to do that with your most valuable asset? Either way, you owe it to yourself to check out my video on who represents me when I buy or sell. It gets very detailed on the different designations of real estate professionals and the range of services offered. Number 4, is your home marked for market? Is it prepared to sell? Is there any deferred maintenance that needs to be addressed? Landscaping and paint are sometimes very cost-effective in establishing curb appeal, but just be careful not to conceal any defects in the process. Be mindful that while attempting to sell a property as is, once an inspection report hits the negotiating table, the prices are not going to reflect sweat equity. They're going to be on contractors' costs. Number 5, how much you need, how much you want, and how much is it worth? These are undoubtedly all going to be 3 different figures. If you want top dollar for your home, and it is marked for market with little to no material defects, then your top dollar is going to be at the top of the range of value in your market. If you go above that range, then you risk losing the maximum amount, because once it's on the market for 2 weeks, the nationwide metric shows a drop from 57% to 50% of homes that sell at or above the listing price within the first 2 weeks. Now, there are micro and macro trends that will be taken into consideration with every market and every property, but if there are appropriate comps to be reconciled, then that will establish the market value. The price can be something entirely different, as price is what you pay and value is what you get. But unless you're under contract and an appraisal comes in higher than list price, it's likely you will either have to come down or risk your able buyer walking away. I've seen buyers walk away even if the homeowner is willing to come down on price, because some buyers remorse they had after entering into the contract. It's kind of like a game of chicken. The first to move loses. It may be beneficial to have your own property inspection done prior to a buyer inspecting it as well, so you'll know what to expect from material defects, and you could use that as a disclosure, or you could use it to fix anything that you're willing to fix, making the process under contract much more streamlined and quicker to close. Appraisals don't always work the same way. It's been my experience that appraisals from lending institutions are much more conservative in nature, and through the reconciliation of comparables using uniform standards of professional appraisal practice to reach a value, most likely using the sales comparison approach, they will usually follow the lower range of values as to not exceed the contract price should it fall within that range. Number 6 is curb appeal and appearance. Everything needs to be as clean as possible, completely decluttered. I would recommend using a storage facility if possible to remove any excess items and to make things look as open as possible. This could also save you time when trying to vacate the premises, and it's not a bad idea to remove any items of value, especially in the bathrooms, as you will have a lot of people viewing the property until it's under contract, and open houses can get quite packed at times. Number 7 was marketing expectations. Once the home is ready and you're ready to list the property, when it hits the MLS, it will syndicate to all of the online apps that 90% of people use to find properties. There are different strategies for different types of properties when it comes to marketing that your local professional will be aware of. An open house may be in order, and scheduling showings may require a great deal of coordination between you and your listing agent, especially in the event that you do not want to be present when people are walking through the home if the property is occupied prior to closing. You want to make the home available to show any and all times that are possible once you list your home to sell. Let the professionals do their job and show the property as much and as often as possible. Whether you are there or whether you're not, that will be entirely up to you. But to miss one viewing or one showing on a listing could potentially be the difference between selling the home and not selling the home. Number 8, patience is a virtue. Nothing ever goes as planned, and there are always issues and challenges to overcome. This is one reason why I encourage homeowners to have a property inspection done prior to potential buyers inspecting the property. This can eliminate major issues and red flags, and more importantly, the time in dealing with these issues. It's never convenient, and it's especially inconvenient in the midst of contract negotiations. Be prepared for a low appraisal, and be mindful that the buyers have the ability to pull out of a contract, even with your willingness to go down to appraised value, in which case the process will start all over again. Keep in mind, buyers only have a certain amount of time, and all of the potential buyers accumulated for this property may not be available when you need them as a contingency. So that's not a valid strategy. Even if you do everything right, and the buyer is willing, the buyer's financing can fall through. Even if they forfeit their deposit, that's of little and no concern, considering the property has to go back on market, now facing scrutiny from possible deficiency, raising appraisal questions. The process has to start all over again. There are several outs for buyers in a contract. Talk to your listing agent and ask them about these so you can be prepared and even hedge against some. Sometimes the terms of one contract can be just as appealing as more money from another. Number 9 is cross your T's and dot your I's. Make sure you have submitted all property disclosures. Any and all repairs have been completed as well, with necessary permitting if any permits are necessary, or the closing of potential open permits. Make sure the buyers are clear to close, and once this happens, it's possible to close before the contract date if all parties agree. Review closing costs and ask any necessary questions that are pertinent to signing documents prior to receiving the document. Whether you use a real estate attorney or title company, the agent you use will coordinate the transaction for you. You would definitely have to be moving out. Execute your plan for moving, as all personal belongings are to be out of the property by closing, which is something you should start prepping for months before your anticipated close. Keep in mind, if items are not listed to be sold with the property, you can't leave them behind just because you don't want to take them with you, and you may be responsible even after the close to remove any and all such items. Now you should better understand not necessarily what's all involved with the sale of your home, as we will take care of everything for you, but more so what's expected from a buyer and your broker's agent. It's important to understand title insurance, escrow, and closing costs, so be sure and check out my videos on that as well. I hope this offers some insight and direction and is beneficial for you in the process. If so, please like and subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.